All right.
All right, so we are live. Hopefully, you guys can see us there. Anybody in the chat just want to send us a quick comment? Let us know if you guys can see us on the screen and hear us. That would be
We
great.
got Braden and Chris right now. Biking with B-Man.
Yeah, that's Braden. He's a younger kid I rode with a few weeks ago at Turkey Point. Him and his dad are big into biking, so it was kind of cool meeting them and riding with them. I think he's actually starting his own channel, so that's cool.
That's cool.
But
So I'm watching with the tape delay, and it looks like we just popped up.
okay, hopefully somebody.
Speaking of other, speaking of other young YouTubers, have you seen? I think it's Shred Bros. I think they're out your way.
Shred Bros. I don't think I have heard of them. All right, so we got a comment. Yes, they can see us and hear us, so that's good. It's actually working. We
Cool.
actually pulled this off.
So I know I can't believe it. It was a race to the finish, eh?
Yeah. What did we do? Like almost an hour and a half of just pre-production trying to figure this out.
Just troubleshooting,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Well.
Just trying to figure out the actual stream.
Yeah. Well, it's because YouTube and changes everything, or Google Hangouts or whatever was going to be the quick, easy way to do it, and then of course it doesn't work anymore. So we got to go in and figure out a new way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we got that running, so
Yes.
I guess we can just wing this.
Yes. All right, guys. So I just want to say Happy New Year's to you guys out there. We've had a great 2019, and I'm stoked for 2020, and I'm sure Tyler is as well. Um, so yeah, we just want to do a podcast talking about some stuff we have going on, and I'll just, I guess, start it by introducing Tyler and his channel, Good Trails YouTube channel. So Tyler, how long have you been doing YouTube for?
I've been on YouTube now. I think I started in 2017. I put up my first video. I think it was in June or maybe May, and then I went out west and I didn't bring my camera, and then I came back and I started making a few more videos. So I'd say in my first year I made like 5 videos, and then I started taking it a little more serious
Okay.
last year in 2018.
Okay, and a question I have for you, because I've seen your videos kind of from the start, and they gradually kind of went to a really highly produced short format version, and then you've kind of gotten away from that this year. Is that sort of something you planned on transitioning to, or just kind of happened, or?
Well, I wanted to. Originally, I started shooting my rides because I just noticed my camera was getting covered in dust.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go out with my SLR and get some nice shots. Excuse me. And I didn't have a GoPro at the time, so I just brought my camera, set it up on a tripod, did some raw videos, and then I started doing a little more production with the voiceover and the music and all that. And I liked that I was doing something different than what everybody else was doing.
Right.
So I did that for quite a while, probably knowing that one day I would get a GoPro,
Hmm.
but I was kind of stubborn, and I set this goal that I'm like, I'm not gonna get a GoPro until I had 1,000 subscribers. Like, I'm gonna make it work this way,
Right.
and then I'll make it work another way after I kind of proved to myself that I could make it work in that way. And since I got the GoPro, there's so much more. The GoPro brings so much more ability to tell a story than just doing a voiceover in your room later. It doesn't give you that live feeling
Right.
where anything could happen. And since then, I've been getting more engagement from people, and it's just been more fun to make the videos
Right.
too.
Right. Like I used to watch
It,
your old videos, and I really like them, but like you said, it's easier sometimes to do the GoPro, and it's easier to relate with, I think, somewhat. Like I watched
yeah,
your old Kelso video for the Broken Spokes Trail, which you
right.
only have about 10 seconds of that video is that Broken Spokes section, and I kind of like rewatched it and tried to figure out, okay, where is that? Because it's kind of hard sometimes to, when you're not doing the GoPro and you kind of see the whole trail and how it leads to a certain area, to kind of say, okay, well,
Mhm.
where's that? Because I kept trying to see your line and I couldn't quite figure out where you were going. So yeah,
Sure. I mean, one thing I did want to show was depth. You always hear about the GoPro effect,
yeah,
and I thought, well, I could solve that if I just do the second angle.
Right.
But the story was lost. Like when I did that broken spokes video, there was a drop right near the end, I think, and it was an old drop that they used to race in
Right.
the O Cup downhill races, and I crashed on that like 3 or 4 times when I was racing it. But I was wearing full gear, I had a full face, knee pads, and I was on a downhill bike.
Hmm.
And then I showed up on my little giant trance with no knee pads and a bucket helmet, and I did it. But like if I had the GoPro, you would have seen I was terrified when I did that.
Right.
Like I did 5 or 6 run ups. I was talking to myself, trying to talk myself up, and the shot I got it. It ended up looking, I thought, really good, but you missed that whole story.
Right.
So
Yeah, it just looked like
for
you just went off at no problem, and I'm like, wow, that's good because I've been there, and that's a scary trail for what it is, and
yeah,
for what it is in Ontario. And I mean, it's very short, but I've done a bunch of gnarly trails around, and I still can't do that trail. I think it's in my head now, but it's still pretty gnarly.
it's actually the drop at the top is optional,
Yeah.
and still it's only 4.5, 5 feet, but it's still probably one of the gnarliest drops I've ever done.
Right.
The run in is like step, 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 and you get a bike length on off camber rocks to pull up and hip to your right. And if you don't drop it to your right, you'll smash into a bunch of other rocks.
Right.
It's a really sketchy drop.
Right. Sorry, just gonna interrupt here. We got just a question we should probably clarify because we're talking about trails. People are wondering, like, one question, where we're located. We're both in Ontario, Canada. I'm a little bit west of Tyler. I'm kind of in the London area, and you're basically GTA, I guess, like pretty much right. Is that right? GTA, like the Toronto area.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm at Young in College. So
Okay.
if you guys know the Leafs, I can basically look out my window and see the old Maple Leaf Gardens.
Oh, cool.
So that's where I am right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're about
I've
2
been here
hours.
for.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, I don't mean to talk over you.
sorry.
We're all new to this sort of thing. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
about 2 hours away from each other, but in the same province. So that hopefully lets you guys know what we're talking about. And we were just talking about a local trail, Kelso, which is sort of Milton area. So pretty much halfway between both of us, I would think.
Hmm.
Um,
It's just about 45 minutes from me.
Yeah, it's about an hour for me. So just one thing I wanted to touch back on. You mentioned racing at Kelso and doing like the O Cup and stuff. So I was going to ask sort of how long you've been riding, but I know it's been a long time. I can just tell by the way you ride that you've been riding a long time. But how long have you been riding? And you were racing, I guess, at some point.
Yeah, I've kind of done it all.
Yeah.
I started in 2003, and it was just like a crappy bike. It was a Kona Scab, fully rigid. And then in 2004, I got my first real bike. That was a Norco A line, and I also got a Norco 400, which is a dirt jumper. Got it that year, and then I've been riding ever since. I've also rode BMX. I did that for 5 years. I kind of took a hiatus from mountain biking,
Hmm.
just because I couldn't afford it while I was in college.
Right.
Didn't have the money. And then I got back into it in 2012, I think, maybe 13.
Okay.
And I've been off the BMX ever since and just on the mountain bike.
And so
It's been fun.
you were racing for a while. You mentioned the O Cup.
Yeah, when I got back into riding in 2012, I did a single race, I think in 2012. And then in 2013 and 14, I did the full O Cup circuit, which I think in 2013 was 5 downhill races, and in 2014 was 4, and then in 2015 they canned it, so there was no more race.
Yeah, just
after that.
just to I know it's kind of an offshoot of this, but I've always been curious of the old O Cup downhill series in Ontario. Like, where did you actually race? Like, what venues did they have?
Oh, okay. So pre my hiatus from mountain biking and post were totally different. They used to be run by 2 different guys before. So are you familiar with the website ridingfeelsgood.com?
I might have seen it. I'm not. It's not ringing a bell right in a second. No.
So that website used to be called Drop Machine, and a guy named Chijo ran that site. And Chijo ran the O Cup downhill races from sometime in the 90s until like 2008, 2009. And so in that era, they used to race Kelso. Um, Camp Fortune was always on the scene. Blue had a couple races.
Yeah.
Calabogie, Calabogie, which is up near Ottawa. Um, I saw the other day on a map that there was a race. I've never done it, but there was a race up near Sudbury back in the day. I think there was a race in North Bay. So like there used to be a race every other week
Wow.
back then.
Wow.
And the scene was pretty big. You'd show up, there was 400 people there.
Wow.
400 people riding just downhill too.
Yeah.
So
And
it
so
was pretty sweet. And when I, sorry, what were you going to say?
I'm just crazy that there was that many people and it's just gone. Like, you know,
Yeah,
like you have a downhill race up Blue Mountain once a year and that's about it. Like there is nothing in Ontario for downhill racing anyways.
there was an incident in 2006 at Blue Mountain
Okay.
where I think a 13-year-old rider, I think he broke his neck,
Oh wow.
and they sued at the time. I think it was Intra West who owned Blue, same guys that own Whistler,
Yeah.
and pretty sure they won, and they ended up overnight shutting down any trail with jumps on it, which was basically every trail.
Right.
Anything wooden features, they were all torn out, and Blue was just essentially went from like solid black double black diamond bike park right down to greens,
Wow.
and that took probably, well, until now, from 2007 to get Blue back to where it is, and it builds up a little bit more every year.
Wow.
So it is getting better, but in 2006 the bike park was vastly better than
Yeah.
it is now in 2006,
Wow.
which is crazy. They had a slope style course.
Yeah.
They had like big progression park and everything.
That's crazy.
So that happened, and I think that was big. I think that kind of destroyed the scene, I think, in
Right.
Ontario. Once that kind of, there's nothing else to ride.
Right. Now, when you would race downhill at Kelso, were like the laps like a minute long? Like that's a pretty short
Yeah.
little trail there to be racing on.
Yeah, the guys who are winning were getting like 53 seconds,
Wow.
53-second races. And so then when I got back into it in 2012, I think it was horseshoe twice. It was horseshoe to start, horseshoe to finish, and then Sir Sam's, which is up in Haliburton
What's that?
near the.
Yeah.
So that's a bike park. You can see it on Trail Forks.
Yeah.
It's up near the Kawartha Dairy in Haliburton.
Right.
And they have a magic carpet instead of a lift,
Okay.
but it takes bikes.
Yeah.
And they have probably 7 trails, and they had a downhill course, and it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fun little course, really loamy, really loose.
Okay.
And then the final race in the circuit, which was vastly superior to all the other ones, was Camp Fortune.
Right.
And Camp Fortune is just gnarly.
Right. That's interesting.
So same with Horseshoe. That would be, the winning time would be 57 seconds.
Right.
Sir Sam's was maybe a minute 2, and then you'd go to Camp Fortune and it would be like 3:10
Right.
was the winner.
Wow.
So that race was 3 times longer.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. Especially hearing the old history. That's way before I got into riding, but it's definitely cool. I've tried to look up that information on the internet, and it's hard to find. So it's good.
Just
it's good talking to
just type
somebody.
in
Yeah.
just type in the good old days and they'll pop up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it's fun. I kind of like where the sport's at now. It's more accessible.
Right. So I have a couple.
Anybody can just kind of buy a bike.
I have a couple comments here. That's Robus TV. He's big into downhill. I've actually ridden with him at Horseshoe. He's saying that's why he quit riding for 10 years.
Oh yeah, well there you go.
Yeah.
Robus, I've seen a few of his horseshoe videos.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I rode with him at Horseshoe, and he rides up Blue a lot, I think. And yeah, it's glad it's getting better, though. It seems like I'm right into it at the right time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Robus, let me know if you remember the trail Scorpion Thunder. If you do, yeah, is the best. Yeah, it's good to be riding now though. Like
Yeah.
the bikes can do everything. My trail bike is better than my first couple of downhill bikes at descending,
Right.
and I can also pedal it to the top too.
Right.
So
For sure. Yeah, I don't. I had an old 2008 bike, and I couldn't imagine riding it nowadays. And that would be scary to ride. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, really. My Norco A line I was talking about, it just had so much standover, and the front end had a 200 millimeter Marzocchi fork, and the rear was 200 millimeter, and it was just like a pogo stick on each side,
Yeah.
and just you're getting bucked over the back, you're getting bucked over the front, and it's had just so much standover that you're riding way up high on it.
Jeez.
It was like riding on stilts.
Does not sound fun. I can barely get down the mountain on what I have.
It
I can't
was though.
imagine.
It was still fun. It was just a little more dangerous.
Yeah. So just I also wanted to touch on what your plans for next year are, like for 2020. What are your plans for riding and the channel, I guess? If you can maybe summarize that.
Well, yeah, I have so many plans, and you know how it is. There's just not enough time. So I'd like to get out to BC, but I've done that the last 2 years. But it's always a safe bet because you don't have to leave the country. You've still got your cell phone,
Yeah.
still got the Canadian money, all that going. But flying out west, just flying with a bike is a bit of a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe I would do Colorado
Mm-hmm.
because that's a 23-hour drive, 22, 23 hour.
Yeah.
So I might just be able to hop in the car and go. So that'd be pretty cool. I definitely want to do Virginia, West Virginia, and North Carolina, maybe Tennessee. But like I said, the list it keeps going and going and going. And who knows what I'll actually make it out to, right? But yeah, so those are on my list. And then Quebec for sure. And who knows, I just might fall back on BC and go because it's so good. You can't go wrong. I have so much fun every time I go there.
Sorry, just reading the comment. Robus did comment that he remembers Scorpion Thunder
Oh, it was the best.
and some trail called Highway.
Oh yeah, Highway had like a 10-foot drop at the top.
Wow.
I've got I'll link it later, but I've got an old video from 2006
Yeah.
that I don't even know if I want to share it. Did you ever listen to the band Under Oath?
Under Oath. I don't think so.
Anyways, that was the music.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just when I was going through that hardcore music phase. But yeah, I might link it later. It's got some pretty cool clips,
Yeah.
and it's got Highway, it's got Scorpion Thunder, and I think Autobahn, which they actually reopened for the Canada Cup this year.
Right. I heard that. Yeah. I think they even
Yeah,
opened
so
up part of it for their blue, whatever their blue cup thing, or maybe that's what you're talking about. I don't know. But
yeah, I think that's what it was. Oh, East Coast Open.
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, as far as travel goes, and I actually now that like we're talking about it, I haven't been to Blue in 2 years, so I'd like to get out there.
Yeah. I mean, I have been to lots of places and I still like Blue. I mean, there's certain things I don't like about it, but it's still a great place to ride. I think, anyways.
I got burned a few too many times where it would rain on the way up and two trails would be open when you get there.
Oh,
And it's like, well, I just drove 3 hours to get here.
yeah.
Um,
Now that you say that, that did happen to me like 3 times this year. Exactly.
It's frustrating.
That. Yeah.
but if you've ever rode Blue in the wet, you'll know that, okay, I guess I can see why they do close it,
Oh yeah, it's like ice.
because
yeah.
it's like ice. And for sure, somebody would get hurt
Yeah.
if they kept it open.
Somebody also told me the reason they close it so fast there is because of the clay, they wouldn't be able to get emergency vehicles up the mountain if something bad happened. So they don't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
Well, the clay is the problem,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I know I've wiped out there hard on the clay. Just when it's just a little bit wet, it's like an ice rink there. You just front wheel right out.
That's what makes it fun, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes a good video, at least.
Yeah, you got to crash, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather not crash and have a boring video than crash and myself. But
Same.
yeah, because
Yeah.
look at Bobo there. He crashed hard, and man,
Oh man.
I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah. I know that's insane. He's according to the doctor, he's off the bike for a year. I've done that twice. I've separated my shoulder twice.
Jeez.
So, but never that bad.
No.
Never that bad. I was out for 10 weeks the first time and 12 weeks the second time.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucks.
Somebody
But a
asked,
year is pretty intense.
do they ever think they'll open up the orchard chair at Blue Mountain? I think that's the chairlift that's way down the far end, by
Hmm.
by like Halley and H2O and those trails. I mean, it would. I think it would make perfect sense for them to do it, but I doubt they will. I don't know. Somebody told me they've been basically saying they'll open that lift for years, and they never have.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's what I was told by my friends who used to work there. And they're like, next year they're going to do it. And that was in 2013, 2014.
yeah,
It's that ride. They just haven't done it. So,
yeah, because that's
for
the
that
one thing I
reason.
don't like about Blue is that the long ride across the top and the bottom. It's like it
Mhm.
gets so repetitive after a while, right?
Yeah, that's why Highway was nice because Highway was right in the middle.
Okay,
It was near Squeaker.
okay, yeah, yeah,
So it was in that area. And that just kind of, it was nice when there were trails peppered along the top of the mountain that were actually good,
right,
but they're not there anymore. And it almost seems like they keep saying they're going to open that chairlift, so they're building more trails down on that end,
hmm,
but then they never do it.
right,
So
right. I just want
I don't know what the financial. Oh, nice,
yeah.
Zen Master.
Yeah, I was just gonna to say thanks to Sam there. I actually rode with Sam and MTB Zen Master at Mountain Creek back in October. We met up there on the one day when I almost seriously crashed on that drop off the deck drop or phantom drop, that super nose heavy drop. That was scary.
Yeah, can we talk about that?
For
Because
sure,
that was crazy, man.
for sure.
That was crazy. Well, yeah, walk me through what happened
Well,
there.
basically, I'd been eyeing up that drop because we were there for the whole weekend, and I eyed it up all day on the Saturday, and it's like, it doesn't look that bad looking at it from like the lift as you're going up. And you've been to Mountain Creek, have you?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and everybody's saying, oh, it's not that bad, but you don't want to hit it too fast, but you don't want to hit it too slow. So it's like, okay, great. Well, so what speed do you hit it at? And I knew if I walked up to the end, like to the edge of it, and actually looked at the drop, I was gonna maybe chicken out from doing it. So I was like, I'm just gonna just go for it. So I followed.
So you didn't look at it.
No. So
Okay.
so I basically just followed my friend Mark, who had gone off it a few times that day, no problem. So I just followed him off of it, and the minute I got to the edge of the drop, it was like, holy shit, this is way bigger than I was expecting. Like it's
Right.
biggest drop I've ever done.
And
And
you're already going over it at this
yeah,
point.
so it was like too late to stop. That'd be really bad. But I just kind of froze up. Like I
Uh,
didn't do anything that I know I should have done, right? Like I didn't do anything you normally do over a drop. I just kind of fell. And
yeah, yeah.
thankfully somehow I didn't completely die. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I just landed heavy on my front fork and somehow managed to ride it out, thankfully. Yeah.
You gonna do it again?
Yeah, I should have done it right then and there again, but I was too scared to. But I definitely need to go back and hit it again properly because it was definitely sketchy.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's like it's what they call like a plum drop because it almost drops straight down
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
like a plum.
yeah,
Um, so, but you don't want to go so slow that your front end drops
right.
because then you're going over and it's like 7 or 8 feet.
Yeah,
That's a pretty big drop, man.
yeah. Like I personally, I don't know. I'm still really new to mountain biking, but I kind of think that drop should have a steeper landing or something, right? Like
Yeah,
to me, it should have a steeper landing than because the landing's almost it's not flat, but it's sort of flat-ish.
yeah,
So it's tricky. Yeah,
yeah. I could see that
yeah,
helping for sure,
yeah,
or even just bringing the landing out a little bit
yeah.
because you kind of want to go faster off of it, right?
Right, and that's the thing that was in my head was people saying don't go very fast off of it. So I maybe went a hair too slow as well, and so basically I just fell right off the end of it, and thankfully didn't crash too badly. it was funny because
Yeah, that's good.
it's so funny because the night before, we were just hanging out at the hotel room and we were, watching videos on our phones or whatever. And there was it was either GMBN crash of the day or Pink Bike fails or whatever. And it was somebody crashing right on that drop. And they pretty much did,
No
they
way.
pretty much did exactly what I did,
Okay.
except for they didn't hold on and they ended up like really eating shit on it. And so I'm in the middle of the drop and that's going through my head like, oh my God, I'm going to be on fail Fridays. Like I'm doing exactly what I just watched, but I somehow wrote it out. So,
Oh man.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that just proves that they probably should change that drop up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I posted on it on Reddit and so many people commented how brutal that drop is and how many people have got injured on it.
Yeah.
I injured on it because they either go too fast or too slow. And you
Okay.
go too fast and you land to flat and almost get like bucked right off your bike, or
Yeah.
you go too slow and nosedive like I did. So
Crazy.
yeah,
Oh, wait till you get out to Whistler and do the rock drop on A line.
yeah,
It's not. It's smaller. You could do it
yeah. I don't mind
for sure. If you can do that drop, you can do the other one. You can do A line.
Yeah, I don't mind drops, but it's the jumps that I suck at. I can't commit to them. I need to work on that. Yeah,
Yeah, they're pretty big.
yeah,
Like the rock drop on A line, which is pretty famous by itself. It looks scary, and then you hit that, and it's not bad. But you come around a left corner, and right after that are probably the 2 second biggest jumps on the trail. So you hit the rock drop, and
right,
you have to talk yourself into that, and then you come around the corner, and there's just these massive gap jumps.
right. I've seen those, and they're really long jumps, aren't they? Like really like kind of short and long. Is that the right ones?
Yeah, they're exactly
Yeah.
they're long, and there's two of them staggered. One is longer than the other, but they're still both pretty long.
Right, right. So I guess just to maybe just finish up this topic. So what are your plans for the channel in 2020?
I think I am going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to keep doing more story-based things. I'm going to keep it pretty much fresh. I'm going to try and do more story-based videos. I'm also just going to do more just raw vlog-style videos, like my last one at Highland Bike Park.
Right.
I'm also going to try and do a few product reviews, which I've never done before. So I've got a few things in the mail on their way right now. I got a heated vest that I'm going to probably wear riding outside in the winter time.
Yeah.
It's like one of those electric vests
Right.
that it's pretty cool. So I'm hoping that can help me with riding
Yeah.
and camping in cold weather.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm going to try and do is more camping stuff. So I did that one video where I stayed in the fire tower. I want to do more videos like that. Maybe not in fire towers, but just
Right.
bike packing, camping, that kind of thing. More of the entire lifestyle,
Right.
which I've been trying to do for years. It's just really difficult
Right.
to make videos that are actually good, that people will watch all the way through.
Right.
But I think I'm getting better at it.
That was a good video, and one thing I wanted to ask you in your videos, because I kind of curious on this. You find these places that aren't kind of on the beaten path. Like for me, people say, "Why do you ride park so much?" And the reason, I mean, park is fun and it's cool, but the other reason is because it's easy. It's easy to just say, "There's a bike park, there's a map, there's all the trails." You don't need to find a local guide, or you don't need to go talk to a bike shop or do much research. You just show up and ride.
Yeah.
I'd love to do more of what you do, but like, how do you research some of these places and find out information and all that? Because that's really cool.
Trail forks.
Yeah.
Most of it is trail forks.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of zoom out from wherever I'm at and look for red lines for double blacks or yellow lines for pro lines.
Yeah.
And I also kind of know where the mountain ranges are, sort of. So I'm looking in there. I remember a couple years ago, I Googled biggest mountains in the East.
Yeah.
And then I'd go on trail forks to wherever that mountain was and zoom out. And I figured, like, well, there's probably mountains around that mountain that are also pretty big that have trails.
Right.
So that's how I found North Conway. There's some stuff in Maine that's on my radar, but I just haven't made it out there
Right.
yet. and from there I'll go onto Google Images, because when you're making videos, I also want to make sure that it's scenic, that it's going to look nice.
Right.
Because what's the point of just riding down a green tunnel? I can do that anywhere. I want to ride on a big rock face with a 360 view, or I want to get a drone up in the air. I don't have one yet, but if I did, I want to get those mountains, and
Right.
or I could find a big rock wall or a big valley with a nice river in it. So
Right.
I'm always looking ahead, like where can I get a cool shot, or is there a story
Right.
in this place?
Right.
Because I mean, I'll drive 10 hours if I find a place I like,
Right.
and I've definitely done that before.
Now I've also noticed you kind of just do everything by yourself. Is that sort of by design, or just the way it happens, or?
It's just the way it happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when it's making videos.
Right.
And especially when I was riding before, to get a 2-minute video on a trail that would normally take somebody 2 hours to ride, it would take me 5 or 6 hours to ride it.
Right.
So it's not, hey, does anybody want to go for a ride? It's, hey, does anybody want to go for a ride and watch me set up a camera for 3 hours
Right.
and ride for 2?
Right.
So it kind of just turned out that way. And then when I switched over to the GoPro, I've been riding a few times recently with people, like more than I used to. But, if I want to get out and make a video every single week, I might not necessarily get to ride with somebody every week.
Right. Yeah, I find that it's hard to, when you are riding with people. Like I have some people that I know are more okay with the whole YouTube thing, and some that aren't, and you just it's hard sometimes if you're just riding and you're like trying to think, well, it'd be cool if we stopped here in session, but they're not going to want to, so you just keep going.
Sure.
You just keep going. So it's kind of a fine line trying to do that with people, for sure. So I can kind of see why it's easier to do it by yourself sometimes, but then I find when I ride by myself, I'm super hesitant about doing anything even remotely above my skill level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same with me.
Yeah.
Same with me. I did 2 or 3 things that scared me this year, and I think I was with people every time I did something that scared me.
Right.
And then there was definitely a few times where I ran up on something, and I was like, man, I really want to try this, but like back of my mind, I know like if I could crash and never be found,
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll take it easy when I'm riding by myself, but then sometimes you get on a steep section and you say, well, I just got to let go of the brakes and just go, right? Because it's probably safer to be off the brakes, but there's definitely technical sections that at first look don't look too bad, and then you get into them and you're going, okay, like there's rocks all around me.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of nowhere, riding by myself. I hope this goes well.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty good so far. I haven't had any major issues, so I've been riding for a while.
Right.
And like, knock on wood, I always know something can happen. So it's not that I'm going out there and just, I don't think I'm invincible. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. And now you have a carbon bike now, right? Your bike's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now you have to be really careful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I don't have carbon bars.
Okay.
So
yeah,
got a carbon frame.
So I guess just for maybe just to finalize, so what are you riding for? Do you have any plans for bikes? Anything different for next year? Are you going to continue to ride? You're on a 2019 stump jumper, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had the option to go up to a 2020, and the only difference was the color.
Yeah.
So it would have been a bit of a hassle. I would have had to sell my old bike, and then I don't know exactly when I would have got my new bike.
Right. And
my bike, it's perfect. And the difference between the 2020 and the 2019, like I said, is just the color. So hopefully, I mean, it's going to be fine. It's the best bike I've ever rode.
Yeah.
2019 carbon fiber stump jumper 29er.
Yeah.
And it's just an awesome bike.
Yeah.
I love it.
Cool.
But yeah, you did say anything different. I'm trying to get on a fat bike.
Yeah.
From Specialized now.
Cool.
I think it's called Specialized Fat Boy. Uh, and I'm trying to get them to lend it to me. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like you go and buy it and you get a week of snow.
That's what I
Yeah,
swear if I ever buy one, it'll never snow again. So,
that's just it.
yeah.
I've been waiting and waiting. They've got this that heated vest I was talking about on the way.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of ideas for videos, and it's just been the nicest December ever.
Yeah.
So,
I'm actually thinking about just getting some studded tires for my hardtail that I'm building up, and thinking that might just be as good, because a lot of these places are like perfect for fat biking for like a day, and then they're ice, and
yeah,
then they're ice. So
yeah.
yeah,
That's just the thing too, right? Even when you're fat biking, you have to have fat bike conditions
right,
that line up with, do you have studded tires? Do you not? And so again, how many days can you actually ride the fat bike? I don't know.
right,
I'm not the authority on it, but
yeah,
uh, it depends where you live, I guess.
yeah. We should probably talk about what we're doing here. We've been going for 36 minutes and we haven't even touched on what our actual plan is for this podcast, which
Yeah,
is
what are we doing?
so we've started a podcast. This is the first episode, kind of episode 0, just explaining what we're planning to do. It's sort of an off-season podcast, and we called it "Out for the Season." I actually got somebody sent me a message before, because I guess when I was playing around with their settings, the actual live thumbnail came out earlier than I thought it would. I didn't realize it was actually live on YouTube, but it said
Okay.
"Out for the
Okay.
Season," and he messaged me because, "What happened? Like, why are you out for the season?" I'm like, "Well, that's
Yeah.
not actually what's going on." But so just it might be a little confusing to guys, but the whole idea of the podcast is to talk about stuff in the off season for mountain biking. Like, what are we planning to do this winter, or what do people do during the winter to stay in shape, or talking about future plans for the upcoming season. Just basically stuff you do in the off season. So that's kind of the point of the podcast.
Yeah, I think one thing I'd like to talk about on this podcast or this stream or whatever is plans that other trail builders are planning for the next season. So like we said earlier, Blue Mountain, are they opening their lift or whatever? Kingdom Trails, are they making more trails because the old ones were closed? So just kind of looking at different networks and seeing what they have in development,
Right.
so that going forward when the season does start, I know I've got a plan. Okay, where do I want to go? And hopefully the listeners and the viewers can say, "Oh, that sounds cool," or "Oh, I went there a few years ago, but now they've got this and this and this."
Right.
So a big thing for mountain biking for me is travel, and travel takes planning. And this is when I do most of my planning is in the off season. So
Right.
yeah,
And I think the plan is hopefully we're going to have some other guests on this series. Maybe, like you said, talking to trail builders or people in the industry or just other YouTubers or whoever, just to kind of make it interesting so you don't have to listen to just us all the time.
yeah, exactly. I think that would get pretty old pretty quick.
Right. And we were talking about scheduling. We're hoping to do this every 2 weeks. We figure that's kind of a good schedule from in the off season. Like, so we're thinking, would we say every other Saturday, 7:30 ish,
Yeah,
and kind
ish.
of go until until spring, basically, until we can start riding again. Yeah.
Exactly. It's out for the season. It's not out for the year.
Right. Yeah. We'll knock on wood.
So
We won't hurt ourselves.
yeah, exactly.
So and also the plan for this today, and I think we're going to maybe try it in the future. We'll see how it works today, but we're going to kind of do a little bit of question and answering and maybe wrap this up, and then we're going to switch gears and jump over to Tyler's Good Trails channel and continue it on over there, and we'll kind of, because a lot of this was sort of based on what he's doing, and we'll talk about what I'm doing over on his channel, and hopefully that makes sense. Is that sort of what we're doing, or?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So I guess we want to do some Q&A maybe.
Yeah, I know there was a bunch of questions sort of asked in the live stream. I don't know if we want to scroll up and take a look. There was a few there I saw that I just kind of skipped over because I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay,
Anything?
how about I start at the top and scroll down, and
Sure.
you start at the bottom and scroll up,
All right.
and we'll see if there's anything. So we just got a bunch of people saying Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's, guys, 2020.
Cheers if you're got anything to drink.
Mm, delicious. LCBO is closed today. Where are y'all located? That's where we're both in. I think you're in southwestern Ontario, and I guess I would be in the GTA.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so what do we got?
Oh, we got Spicy Berms watching in Vancouver Island. That's cool. Hey, Spicy Berms. You're saying, okay, so we've got Lifted Adventures that was saying, when you're saying racing, do y'all mean DH or enduro? And I think we got into that a little bit earlier. And so back when I used to race, it was DH. And recently I just did my first enduro. Tugi, do you have any plans? Oh, I guess we can talk about it over on my
Yeah.
channel, but have you ever raced before?
The only race I ever did was one cross country race in my first year, and it was terrible.
Okay.
But I do plan to do an enduro race, at least one this year. I plan to do the one at Blue Mountain, but maybe some.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
okay.
some others. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we can talk about that when we get over on my channel. I'm going to write that down. Enduro at Blue.
Rob is here. If I start down at the bottom, he's talking about. We can maybe get him on the show because he's talking about building some trails in southern Ontario. It's going to be
Oh, that'd be cool.
500 feet of vertical descent and shuttleable. Is that a word? Shuttleable. You can shuttle it.
Really?
You can shuttle it. Yeah.
Are you sure you want to say that on the internet where that's at?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd be keeping that a secret.
Yeah. But that sounds cool. And if it's public knowledge and going to be public knowledge, that'd be great to have him on the channel talking about that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'd love to know where. I'd love to go ride that. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's get him on. Let's get it.
Right.
We'll get on contact with Robus after the show, and we'll get that going. Okay.
What else do we got here? There's a bunch of people talking about getting to Blue Mountain this year. People asking about how far that is from where they are. So,
just Ike on a bike just bought a Da Vinci Spartan 29er.
Nice.
Can't wait till May to ride it. Was that one of the bikes you test rode?
I never got the test ride one of those. That was it was in my video, kind of the ones where I talked about all the different bikes that I was looking at. Yeah.
How is the build spec on those?
It wasn't too.
Are they good?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. For the price, I think it was pretty decent. It was definitely better than some other companies out there, like well, I won't say who, but there's a few companies that I looked at.
Sure.
The prices seemed way out of line for what you were actually getting. So
yeah,
I think they're a decent build for what you get.
It's nice that they're in Canada too, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Ike on a bike. Sounds good.
Some guy says, love both your channels. GTA Southern Ontario content is great. He says, my progression's been good. That's cool. And keep up with the videos. So yeah, that's one thing I'm actually going to try to do a little bit more of next year. It's hard because I'm so used to doing the downhill, and I like the challenge and the thrill of it, but to try to explore some more local stuff. That's how I started, and I kind of really got away from it last year, but there's so many trails. Mm-hmm. There's so many trails in Ontario, even within 2 or 3 hours of me, that I haven't even ridden, that I'd love to at least check out.
I want to get up to Sudbury.
Yeah.
Sudbury, and then Sault Ste. Marie. Speaking of shuttle trails with shuttle roads in Ontario, Sault Ste. Marie, I think has Mount Bellevue, and they've got, I think it's like 300 meters of vertical. It's essentially like very similar to what Blue has. Super rocky, really like dark, dense, tacky dirt.
Nice.
And it's all along the lake too. So the only thing is it's 8 hours. So it's like there's a lot of places you can go within 8 hours.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And from where you are, it's probably further.
Yeah. Anything else here?
Robus is an Under Oath fan. Right on. Yeah, I'll send you that video, Robus, that 2006 Blue Mountain video.
He's also talking about a place, Le Massive, that must be in Quebec. 2,200 feet of vertical drop is going to be the highest vertical descending bike park in Eastern Canada. He says they open next June. Sweet.
They've got a trail open right now. It's at Massif de Charlevoix,
Yeah.
and it's just north of. It's probably like 20, 30 minutes north of Mont Saint Anne.
Sweet.
It looks great. It looks really good. What else we got here?
We got Happy New Year's. Somebody asked me if I've started the new build yet. No, but stay tuned. There'll be a video tomorrow, guys. Going to be coming out tomorrow. We're going to be talking about all that. I know there's been some people sending me a lot of messages wondering what I'm riding next year, what's the deal, and what's going on. Video tomorrow night will answer all your questions, or 99% of them, anyways.
I'm looking forward to it. New bike day videos are always good.
Yeah.
Dropping in for a quick what's up. Zen Master says what's up. Thanks again for sending that super chat there earlier.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, and somebody asked if I'm going to be doing any more ride videos with my girlfriend. Well, I mean, I'd like to. We got our brand new Giant Trance. We did some rides in the fall, and it's just convincing her to do it more. She likes it, but not quite as much as me. So I'm trying to sway that a little bit, but it's like she's into yoga, and trying to get me to do that is kind of like the same thing. I'll do it once in a while, but it's like, So
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Maybe she'd enjoy some more of the XC-based stuff.
Yeah, we tried that. We tried that originally when we first got our other bike, and she'd much rather she likes the downhill. It's just it's intimidating as well. So
yeah, it definitely
is.
It definitely is. Yeah. I know I've tried to get my girlfriend into it, and she's not going to budge.
No.
She said she'd try. She said she would try fat biking in the winter.
Nice.
Which to me sounds more difficult, like more physically challenging, but she said she'd try it, so I'll try and get her out. I'm going to Blue Mountain this year. Cool. Braden from B-Man MTB is going to Blue.
Sweet.
B-Man, have you ever been to Blue before?
I don't think he has. I talked to him there a couple weeks ago at Turkey Point, and I think Blue it's going to be his first year up there.
Oh, nice. That's good. He's going to love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking of getting a season's pass up there actually this year, maybe, because I went up there like 5 or 6 times, and it gets a little expensive. So.
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah.
So the fall bike show usually has a sale. I don't know if they still do it.
I think they do it in the spring now too. So I know they did. Last spring.
Yeah, the spring. It's like the early bird pass. Yeah, you can usually get it. Well, back in the day, you used to be able to get it for. I think it was like $180 for the season, but I'm sure it's up.
I think it's up from that. But it's like $60 a pop now, pretty much. So that adds up.
That's crazy. Yeah. I guess it's still cheaper than Whistler.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to talk about when we switch over to the other channel, too.
Yeah.
We've got to talk about Killington.
Yes.
I'm just going to write that down. That might be my new favorite bike park.
Oh, we got a question here at the bottom. This is actually from a buddy of mine, Dave. Rode with him a bunch this year. Which park are we hitting first? I don't know. Bailey Mountain and Windrock are kind of like open all the time, so they're probably high on the list of the first places I'm going to go in 2020, just because they're rideable, end quotes, rideable, because they don't close. But what was your favorite for 2019? Favorite bike park? I don't know. That's so hard to say. For me, I think just the combination of the day and everything. I think Killington was my favorite of the year.
Oh, nice.
It was just getting to the very top, like taking that one gondola right to the very top and getting out and the view and everything, and then just riding down. That was probably the biggest mountain I've ever been on. So just that whole experience, I think, was my best. So
nice.
What about you for 2019? What was your favorite ride or bike park or whatever you were at?
I think bike park. I've been to Whistler before in the past, so it's always hard for anybody to top Whistler.
Yeah.
So it probably was Whistler, but number 2 was Killington. I love that place,
Yeah.
and it's a 7 hour drive from where I'm at.
Hmm.
Um, and they've got three lifts, and they've got I don't know how many trails. They've got endless trails, and the amount of jumps on that hill, it's insane.
Right.
And they're proper jumps.
Right.
They're proper Whistler style jumps that are built perfect, and the berms are smooth, and you can just ride that place all day. It's like Whistler, but there's no braking bumps there. It's an awesome spot.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go with for sure anywhere that I've never ridden before. Like first ride at a new park, Killington.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Sweet.
It's so
Now,
good.
did you just spend one day there or more than one day?
I spent one day there, but I'm going to be making 3 videos from just that one day
Yeah.
because I got there early and I just had so much riding there.
Right.
And the lifts are fast, and
Yeah.
you show up. There's food in the food court there. You don't need to leave. You can camp on the mountain.
Yeah.
So I think I camped there the night before, and I woke up at like 8 a.m. and I was riding by 9.
Yeah, I'm
So
kind of jealous that you still have ride videos to edit. I'm tapped out of those.
yeah,
Yeah. So
I've got probably 8 or 9.
wow. So do you
Yeah,
post every week? Like do you,
I was.
okay.
I was posting all through the summer,
Yeah.
up until about the end of September.
Yeah.
I was posting every week, and then I just slowed down because I got back to work and I started working like 60-hour weeks, 70-hour
Right.
weeks, and I just, I just, I figured, you know what, there's probably going to be less people making videos in the wintertime,
Yeah.
and I was right. Like I'm getting actually more viewership in the wintertime because
Right.
less people are posting.
Yeah, because
So
I kind of got ahead of myself and was posting like 2 videos a week for a while, and I should have maybe not done that because
man,
I would have content still, but I'll have some content, but it won't be riding, that's for sure.
that's a lot of editing
Yes,
too.
it
Like you
is.
must have just been editing all the time.
Yeah, I
Because it'll
was.
take me 4 days. Granted, I don't edit all day.
Yeah,
Like I'll edit for 90 minutes, 2 hours.
yeah,
But if I do it like that, it takes me four or so days to make a video to
yeah,
edit it.
yeah. It definitely. I think you might edit a bit more than I do. I don't know, but it definitely takes a long time. Yeah. All right.
Hold on, I'm trying to fix my light here. Do we miss any questions?
I think that's pretty much it. We should probably, if we're going to switch over, because we're probably.
Robus was saying about his new trails that Thrilladelphia
Oh,
will be his first trail. That's a pretty cool name.
nice.
Yeah, I think let's switch over.
All right.
It's been a while.
I'm just gonna
So
I'm gonna quickly post a link to your channel in the chat here.
do
Just
you want to get back on maybe at 8?
yeah,
That'd be a good way, and people can take a break, and everybody can get over there.
yep. Let's just take a break until 8. Let me just find your channel link here, and we'll get that loaded in the chat. Just
I'm getting distracted by these Robus comments. I want to know where this spot is. It's good and it can be shuttled. Oh my god. Doesn't sound like Ontario to me.
no. I think actually he did show me once, but I can't remember where it was offhand. But it's within a 2 or 3 hours drive from me, anyways. It's probably closer to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna see if Philadelphia is on Trail Forks. But yeah, post that link.
To
And we will.
okay, so we will shut this.
Okay, what do you think?
Okay.
I'm gonna shut this one down now.
Yep, we'll stop streaming it, and we'll see you at 8 o'clock over on Good Trails channel. We'll be going live there, so see you there in about 5 minutes. All right.
Thanks for watching, guys.